Alright, welcome back to the channel. On today's little episode, I'm going to be replacing these fuel injectors on my brother's 86 Mitsubishi Starion. Recently got it, and you really can't give it anything more than maybe half throttle if you are stepping on it hard, 3/4 if you go easy and kind of build up the boost, but it starts backfiring, misfiring, and from what I've been told, everyone's telling me that the injectors are probably clogged. I already pulled them out and soaked them in Marvel and tried to clean them that way with a little 9-volt and blowing through them some Marvel, but that didn't work, or maybe it did and they're just that bad. They're notoriously bad. Actually, this whole motor is notoriously bad, but we'll at least try to get it in somewhat running condition. Alright, once you get your injector clips unclipped, it's just going to be 2 8mm bolts right here, and you're going to have to take a socket over to a grinder to take a little bit of the outside off, actually quite a bit, because for some reason a socket won't fit down in that area, at least a regular one, unless it's ground, because it'll rub on that and you'll never actually get it seated. I don't know why, but that's just what I noticed. So get these taken out. Little bit of fuel should spray out probably, just because it's probably still under pressure. But that's alright. So I'll get these pulled out and we'll take a look at her. Alright, so there's going to still be a little bit of fuel on there. That's why I got this here rag. So that way when you pull off the injector, it doesn't just spray everywhere. Come on. There we go. So that is both injectors. On an 86, they're supposed to both be the same, as from what I'm told. Both supposed to be the same size. 87, they got their secondary injector was a little bit bigger, so I'm hoping that maybe that was his problem too, is someone had the wrong injectors in it because they had tried to replace it. Another thing to look for is in the top of the actual top hat where the injector goes, if it'll focus in. And let me see. Alright, so there's going to be some screens in there too, and you want to make sure that they're not dirty. Like this one looks real clean, that one looks like total shit, so that could have been his problem too. I'll see about getting this thing apart and then maybe getting to that screen if I can. We'll see about how to get to that. Looks like maybe that there's just one nut right there, and it would come apart. Nope, never mind, that's not a nut. That's just like an Allen head sunk in there for no fucking reason. I have no idea how you get to those. But I'll clean it out either way. I'll figure something out. Alright. Okay, new fuel injectors are in and on. So hopefully that clears that up nicely. Now for the next task, it won't be near as easy. People said that the vacuum advances go out in these cars as well. So I went online and got a new one. So haven't done one of these, but it literally looks like I'm gonna have to unscrew this little Phillips head that's stripped to shit. Oh, that's gonna be fun. And then it looks like there's one that's actually inside of the distributor itself, facing from the inside out, I guess, because I can just barely see the back of the threads right there. Or it could be one that's just snapped off, and gonna have fun with that. But it looks like I'll have to just pull his coil wire and then disconnect the distributor cap right there, and that other gold one right there. Get this pulled off, and then I'll see his rotor cap, and then disconnect the rotor cap, and then probably the governor flywheel plate bullshit that's in these vacuum advanced ones that thing is actually attached to in the back by this little doodad right there. So that's gonna be fun. Hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully it runs better, but we'll get to it. Okay, once you have the distributor cap pulled off, looks like it's just gonna be this one bolt here, and hopefully all this shit doesn't come apart and just like fucking fall apart on me. Mainly why I'm taking videos, just so that way I can cross-reference to put it back together. But the part I'm trying to replace is down in there. Right there. That little rod right there comes up into this. And when vacuum is applied to this, say like when your car is idling, it pulls up on that, changing your ignition timing. And if they're worn out, it can lead to a lot of bad things. Mainly horrible running conditions. So hopefully I can get that out without a problem. Hopefully I can get it out without having to take the distributor out. Okay, and it's a good precaution to mark these little spring doodads, the spring and the retainer that it goes to, because both of them are different, so you don't want to mix them up. But I also marked the top spring and retainer, two different colors, and then I also dotted the distributor to the actual ignition wheel, so that way when I take this off, I don't fuck it up and fuck up the timing, because when I was pulling this thing off, that entire wheel was able to like start moving around on me. So I didn't want to lose the position on where it was. So hopefully that helps. At least it'll help me. Alright, now that we have the rotor plate off, I'm going to be getting down to the governor base and all that down in here. The part that I need to get is still back up in there. Kind of where that blue looks like silicone almost. It's probably grease, but back there. So I'm going to take all this stuff out very carefully, because it's got some like really thin hair-like tiny wires that hopefully I don't break. Alright, so disconnecting the pickup wires on the whatever the fuck that thing is. One of them broke off, just snapped right off. So gonna put a new one in anyways. Just part of the casualties of trying to fix 40-year-old shit. Okay, got the two little bolts out from down here, so hopefully I also marked the top so that way I wouldn't lose track of how this thing went in there. Okay, well. Oh, gotta get the little rod off, so I'll be back at that. Okay, it turns out you just gotta work smarter, not harder. Should just be able to pull this thing and pull it all the way out. Now I'll disconnect that vacuum line, put the new one on, clean up around that base plate, and put the new one on. Not too terribly hard. Hopefully it goes back together easy though. Alright, got the new vacuum advance on there. Got the distributor all put back together. All my lines line up. And should be pretty much done with that. Now I just need to put on his old distributor and reconnect the coil wire and the battery. And then hopefully it fires up. Maybe the fuel injectors might be a little dry for the first few cranks or whatever, but we'll see if that fixed his problem. Okay, new fuel injectors are in, batteries all connected. These cars don't seem to really prime when you turn the key on. I don't even hear a fuel pump turn on at all, which is weird, but hopefully it starts. Coming to life. Those new injectors got to do their thing. And then you're going to want to look for fuel leaks. Like that one. Definitely looks like that injector's leaking. Yeah, that's fuel. Fucking leaky injectors. Alright, other than that, seems to be running alright. Alright, took it off and then re-cleaned that spot. They don't seem to be leaking now. Just a little bit of residual gas from when I pulled them off a second ago. Seems to be doing better though. That seems a lot more responsive than it used to be. So, alright. Job well done. Probably take it down the road here in a second and see if we fix the problem. And struggle so real with this driveway. Just straight dirt.
You just take the dirt and rub it all over yourself.
Basically, it'd almost be easier just to do it that way. Alright, once we get down here to the road, I will actually be able to give it some throttle and see how well she drives. Hopefully she just doesn't hesitate and fall on her face when it gets over 7 pounds of boost. It just kind of dies. Doesn't really die, it just, well, you'll see if it's doing it. Hopefully it doesn't, but it's like a factory goddamn two-step. Stumble, 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 and then big ass bang. But let's hope that that doesn't happen. Alright, so, you know, another half mile down to get to the road. Alright, finally getting down to some actual road. Look at all that dust. It's just disgusting. Alright, so here, go ahead and hold this. Nope, she still does it. Matter of fact, the car actually even feels so sluggy. hopefully it's just a fuel pump issue or something like that next, since we do have the fuel pump. It's just you gotta drop the tank and the fuel pump sits on top of it, but injection that you can imagine. It was like before they even figured out what was going on. Actually, from what it says, this was the first car out of Japan to be turbocharged and fuel injected. So they had a lot of issues, especially with the age that it is, being almost 40 years old now. Those issues really shined a light. So hopefully it's maybe just a few more little things on this thing and it'll be operating back to as good as at least this motor did, which should be about 190 horsepower and like 230 foot-pounds of torque at least, but it's definitely not making that much right now. I'd say it's lucky to get 150 and maybe 160 torque right now. Who knows? This is my brother's car, so he might end up just motor swapping it to a VG, you know, the tried and trusty Nissan motor. You really can't go wrong with those. They're fucking bulletproof. I mean, they got 13 head bolts per side, so I mean, you're never really gonna lift a head until you start putting in some serious boost. Whereas these cars, you know, you can get about 500 horsepower out of them before you have to seriously think about modifications to the inside, internals, and definitely ARP bolts for your heads and connecting rods and everything like that. So we'll see how it goes. Let's see. Still just backfires and shit. So fireworks, right? Not as bad though. At least I can get higher in the rev range and give it a little bit more throttle before it starts doing it. So I don't know. Other culprit it could be is a faulty ECU as well. So I'm hoping it's not that. We'll maybe try to disconnect the mass airflow sensor and run without it. They say in 1986, which this car is, they have a mass airflow and a map sensor together. So they say that if you got a lucky 86, you should be able to just disconnect your mass airflow sensor and then restart your car and it be fine. So I'll try that and see if that fixes it. But for now, I think it's just fuel related issues still. Probably the in-tank fuel filter is disgusting, which I got a new one coming from Japan. They don't even sell them over here in the States, so it's pretty retarded. But that'll be like probably next week or something when that part gets here, or maybe later this week. And then I'll have to drop the entire gas tank on the car. And then put the new pump filter in, and hopefully that'll fix the rest of her problems. But let's pop the hood, and then I'll disconnect the mass airflow sensor and start it back up and see if that remedies any of the problems. Alright, so I disconnected his mass airflow sensor and the car seems to be running okay. Maybe he just has a faulty MAF sensor. But either way, this will be the end of this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow for more content. There'll be probably a lot more videos on the Starion and Z31, Turbo Maxima. I mean, twin turbo S12, and I also have a imported FJ20 ET S12 over there. So, till next time, like and subscribe. Give us a big old thumbs up. All right.